Kathleen, not predicting a win for Ireland at the moment. It's a difficult situation. Last group game, we've nothing to play for. They have everything to play for.
Yeah, they definitely need this game now to really secure. But, I think if we apply ourselves, if we play a different type of game, because the game that the Nigerians are playing are a high game, and they have two fantastic midfielders that one always holds. But I think we have a chance. I mean, we've really done well. We've equipped ourselves very well in terms of, you look at teams who are beaten really badly. We've been marginalised in our score, and a couple of those goals were our own making.
Yeah. Like, a lot of the analysis of the World Cup is that this has been a failure, right? And I see that. You lose 2 games the World Cup. It's hard to paint it any other way. But we have been against teams who are significantly better than us, much further down the line than us in terms of their evolution, development, experience of major tournaments. And we actually played better football in those games than we have done in qualifying for the tournament. In many ways. Well,
that's what happens when you play in a tournament like this. Like you draw on things that you probably wouldn't have used in other games. You have the huge support that lifts you as well, and then you lift your own game personally. We've had a few injuries. We're missing a couple of players. Again, today I'm not quite sure if Vera's going to stick to the plan. Again, that would be dependent on whether she has injuries. Players are putting their hand up to say that they're injured. At the same time, it'd be great to see that you could get maybe 100%, half a game out of somebody, so that we can get 100% right through the game. But we need to go at them.
If we win the game, it's a great end to the competition. If we get something out of it, it'll be something to cling to. But if we lose the game, does it matter at this stage?
Well, I think the men's Euro in the 90s, I think the first one we went to, the guys lost the first 3 games and they were out, so...
Euro 88 was the first one.
Yeah.
We beat England in the first game, drew with Russia, and then lost the Dutch game at the end. But we obviously were beaten in all 3 games in 2012 when Trapattoni was the manager.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
This is different though, because pre-tournament I think people with the controversy around Vera Pauw felt it might be a Euro 2012, and I think the conversation there was with Trapattoni. You talked to the players afterwards, they felt it was sort of done a year before. They were sort of done with Trapattoni. Like, this team have gone out and actually, I think,
really performed.
The performance against Canada, it was probably reminiscent of the first 45 minutes against France, where they were brilliant. Like Kira Carusa, like an absolute nightmare to play against. That, if anything, the game plan that they're trying to implement is getting better.
Yeah, but then from my perspective, it's got to do with fitness, that we can last a full game at pace, and again, our formation going out. Caruso is brilliant, but she's no good up there on her own. And that's that. And if you look at all the setup for the other teams coming out, they're pushing 3 up front. Well, that's what the plan is, to put 3 up front, whether they drop back and other people move forward. But the idea is to go out with that mindset, and the fact that you stay close and compact as you move up the field. You'll have the stars that will shine, like Katie McCabe, maybe Denise O'Sullivan, maybe Abby Larkin, Louise Quinn. You'll have those type of players that will shine. But today is the day to do it. It's all or nothing today.
Yeah. And it'll be a lot to cling on to as they roll forward if we were to get something from the game today. Yeah,
it will be. And also, maybe now that they've had this experience, they're now going to have to go back and look at the teams they played against and look across all the others and see what are we missing that they have, and where can we find the players that can do that, because we're looking for players that are just natural, that when they're in front of the goal you just take your chances. Don't passing the ball here, there and everywhere, walking the ball into the goal or shooting from too far out. Have confidence, because we have skillful players, but we need to allow them to express themselves.
I think everybody's just disappointed because we didn't get the bandwagon up and running and the opportunity to play England in the last 16. If we'd got out of the group, it would all have been pretty special. It would like a big breakout moment.
It would have been fantastic. I mean, we are in a very, very tough group. We really, really were. But yeah, to get out and play against England, because I felt that in the Euros when I was looking at it, that we would have had a really good go at some of those teams, you know. And if you think of England, the first match they were diabolical, but the second match they were clinical.
Yeah. Qualify for the Euros is now obviously the single most important thing, right? There's a strong feeling that this is going to be the end of the Vera Pauw. This is going to be the end of the Vera Pauw era. Sometimes you just need to be careful with that stuff. Like a new manager comes in and has to hit the ground immediately.
Yeah, you see, that's the danger. So you can't experiment with such a short period coming up to the Euros. You know, what do you do? But who do you get? And then the players have to know what style that particular manager wants you to play, whether they want to allow you to express yourself or want to contain you in an area, but you express yourself in that area, you know, or whether they want to play players in their proper positions.
Yeah, that is the difficulty, because Vera Pauw is so strong in how she wants Ireland to play, for good and for bad, because I'm interested in what you talk about supporting Kira Carusa there. Like, one of the great things about this World Cup is that the minnows, if we call them that, have been so good to watch on the counter-attack. They've sucked up pressure, but actually there's a load of technical ability there. When they get on the ball, they go forward quickly, whereas too often still with Ireland it feels that it goes forward to Carusa, and unless Katie McCabe makes the run up, there's nobody really there in support. Even when Sinead Farrelly did well, it sort of slows down a little bit. If you're looking at today's game, what can she do tactically to help Carusa? Do you play, like there's talk that maybe Megan Connolly goes into midfield, Denise O'Sullivan plays in one of those more advanced roles. Does that change it?
Yeah, it would, because it's natural for Denise to go forward and we need people to go forward. But I think often we're very stretched in our play. You know, our defence is stretched away from the midfield. The midfield is miles away from the forwards. That if we can push up, it'll actually save you a bit of leg if you move in relation to the ball, if you know what I mean. And we're inclined to ball watch and see what's going to happen, and let's protect here and let's protect here. If you look at the Nigeria, they rotate the two midfield players, so when one goes and supports, the other one sort of holds back, but she doesn't hold back in a defensive, she holds back in a V, so that then when the ball breaks, she makes the run, so the other midfielder gets a break, if you know what I mean. But you have to have an engine on you to be able to do that type of, you know, work on the pitch. And a lot of the teams seem to have that. A lot of the successful teams seem to have that. But that's an individual thing that you can work on yourself.
What do you think is going to happen today?
I hope I'm going to be pleasantly surprised. Yeah. I really do. I hope Vera puts on. I mean, our options are very tight now, depending on whether there's injuries. I hope she puts on a couple of players forward, you know, and allow, particularly Katie McCabe, not to be drawn back so far, you know, and let her come up and support, because she has the legs that we're missing in quite a few places. On the other side, I think if Payne is out and she has to play Anya Gorman, Anya is a little bit lost for pace. So if I was playing with Anya and I knew Anya was playing and I was a central defender, one at centre, I would be going out to make it a 2-on-1, do or die. You know, the idea is if the ball doesn't come in, you can't do any damage. So the idea is to prevent the ball coming in.
Vera has come in for criticism for pointing out that there's a lack of pace in our squad, and that's why she plays with the three centre backs. Are we all being a little bit precious, or is the manager not supposed to say that stuff?
Well, I wouldn't be saying that stuff, number one, because that's giving ammunition to the opposition. When the cross came in for the second goal, we didn't need any pace. We just needed to be able to track the ball and move in relation to the ball and adjust ourselves. And
are you, as the manager, not supposed to say that? Or are you, as the manager, supposed to say, well, look, because I think she was criticised for also saying that too. Like,
I wouldn't be saying anything to give any other team any type of ammunition to use against me. I would not be talking about my players. That'd be something I'd be trying to work out myself. In terms of, okay, if I have somebody who isn't so fast, I need somebody beside her that's going to be able to support her. But I wouldn't be saying anything derogative about my players at all.
All right, fair enough.
I wouldn't even do it for my club team.
All right, give us your prediction.
I hope that, well, I think we might do pretty well if the players are rotated and not left on till they're tired. They're absolutely tired. We've been very close in goals, really close, and the girls have to be admired for that. If we can contain the two central midfielders,
okay,
I think that we might have a chance
of getting a draw or a win.
Well, see, I think we might have a chance of getting a win.
All right.
You know, now the only thing that will go against us, I think, is our pace and our lack of pace. You know, like I don't think the Nigerians are what we call dirty players. They're very powerful and physical, and they stand their ground. Great balance, lovely little technical skills. They're willing to run to win the ball, and they do an awful lot of interchanging. If you look at the front three, I mean, they're moving in and out. The player that was on the right is now on the left, but the player on the left has actually moved to right. So the awareness of where the positional sense is in relation to everybody on the team, I found quite remarkable.
Okay, so a big challenge for us today. Linda, good stuff. Enjoy the game. Thanks a million.
Thanks a lot, lads.